Hello there, little monsters. How are you today? I have been very naughty, TJ. It's been 2 weeks since I sent you a chapter. That is my fault completely. Very sorry about that. I will try and catch up and send you a couple this week, though, so we should be all right. So, the last time we had a story, it was chapter 6, Moonface and the Slippery Slip. So where they had been coming down the tree, the kids had been coming down the tree, and they had met Mr. Moonface, and they had come down the slippery slip. That sounded like so much fun, right? I think we should have a slippery slip at your house. That is a very good idea. This chapter is chapter 7, and it is called Beth Makes Some Toffee for Mr. Moonface. Now, who amongst you likes toffee? I do. I love toffee. In fact, I love toffee so much that I ate it so much that my tooth fell out. And it wasn't very nice. So I shouldn't eat so many sweets, but I do love toffee a lot. Right, let's get on with the story, shall we? I think it's quite a short chapter. Here we go. The children talked about nothing else but the faraway tree and its strange folk for days after their adventure. Beth said they must certainly keep their promise to take Toffee to Mr. Moonface. Promises must never be broken, she said. I will make some toffee if Mother will let me have the sugar, syrup and milk. How do you make toffee? Sugar, syrup and milk. I should find that out, right? Then when it's done, you can take it to Mr. Moonface, Joe. Mother said they could make toffee on Wednesday after she had been to the shops. So on Wednesday, Beth set to work to make the best, sweetest, chewiest toffee she could. She set it in a pan on a stove, and it cooked beautifully. When it had cooled, it set nice and hard. Beth broke it up into small pieces. She put them into a paper bag and gave one piece each to the others and popped one into her own mouth. I think I'll have to go at night, said Joe. I shan't get any time off this week, I know. We're so busy with the garden right now. So that night, when the moon was shining brightly in the sky overhead, Joe slipped out of bed. Beth and Fanny woke up and because they heard him. They hadn't meant to go with him, but when they saw the moonlight shining everywhere and they thought that of that exciting faraway tree, they felt they simply couldn't stay behind. Wouldn't you have felt that too? Definitely. They dressed quickly and whispered through Joe's door, "We're coming too, Joe, wait for us." Joe waited, and then they all slipped down the creaky stairs and out to the moonlit garden. The shadows were very black indeed, just like ink. There was no colour anywhere, only the pale, cold moonlight. They were soon in the enchanted wood. But dear me, it was quite different now. It was simply alive with people and animals. In the very dark parts of the woods, little lanterns were hung in rows. In the moonlit parts, there were no lanterns, and a great deal of chattering was going on. That sounds like the girls' bedroom in the evening. Chatter, 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 chatter. Nobody took any notice of the children at all. Nobody seemed surprised to see them, but the children were most astonished at everything. There's a market over there, whispered Joe to Beth. Look, there's necklaces made of painted acorns and brooches made of wild roses. But Beth was looking at something else. A dance was going on in the moonlit dell, with fairies and pixies chattering and laughing together. Sometimes, when they were tired of dancing on their feet, partners would fly up into the air and dance in the moonlight. Franny was watching some elves growing toadstools. As fast as the toadstools grew, an elf laid a cloth on it and put glasses of lemonade and tiny cakes there. It was all like a strange dream. "Oh, I am glad we came," Beth said in delight. "Who would have thought that the enchanted wood would be so magical at night?" They wasted a great deal of time looking at everything, but at last they got to the faraway tree. And even here there was such a great difference. The whole tree was hung with strings of tiny lights and glittered softly from branch to branch, rather than like a very enormous Christmas tree. Joe saw something else. It was a stout rope, going from branch to branch for people to hold on to when they wished to go up the tree. "Look at that," he said. "It will be much easier to go up tonight. All we have to do is hold on to this rope and pull ourselves up by it. Come on, girls." Other folk, and some animals too, were going up the tree. Not to the land at the top, but to visit friends who lived in the trunk of the enormous old tree. All the doors and windows were open now, and there was a great deal of laughing and talking going on. Children climbed up, and when they came to the window of a pixie, who had been so angry with them last week when they had peeped in, they found that he was in a very good temper now, sitting smiling at his open window, talking with 3 owls. But Joe didn't think they had better stop, in case the pixie remembered them and threw water all over them again. So on they went, holding on to the thick rope, climbing very easily. They came to Silky's house, and they called her. She was at her stove, baking something. "Hello," she said. "So here you are again, just in time too, because I'm baking popcakes, and they are deliciously hot." Her silky golden hair stood out around her face, which was red with baking. Joe took out the bag of toffee. "We're really taking them to Moonface," he said, "but do have one." Silky took one look at them and gave them 3 hot popcakes each. My goodness, how lovely they were, especially when they went pop in the children's mouth. "We mustn't stop, Silky dear," said Beth. "We've still a long way to go up the tree." "Well, look out for Dame Washalot's washing water," said Silky. "She's dreadful at night. She knows there are a lot of people up and down this tree, and she just loves to soak them with her dirty water." "Oh, that's gross." The children went up. They passed Mr. What's-his-name, still fast asleep and snoring on his chair, and they dodged Dame Washalot's water sloshing down. Nobody even got splashed this time, Franny laughed. "This really is the funniest tree I ever knew," she said. "You simply never know what's going to happen." They pulled themselves up and up by the rope, and at last came to the top. They knocked on Moonface's yellow door. "Come in," yelled a voice, and in they went. Moonface was sitting on his curved bed, mending one of his cushions. "Hello," he said. "Did you bring that toffee that you owe me?" "Yes," said Joe, handing him the bag. "There's a lot in there, Moonface. Half to pay you for last week's slippery slide, and half to pay you if you'll let us go down again tonight." "Oh my," said Mr. Moonface, looking with great delight at the bag. What lovely toffee." He crammed 4 large pieces into his mouth and sucked with joy. "Is it nice?" he said Beth. "Oh, it's absolutely delicious," answered Mr. Moonface, not quite able to speak properly, for his teeth were all stuck together with toffee. "Is the roundabout land at the top of the faraway tree?" asked Joe. Mr. Moonface shook his head. "I don't know." "What land is up there now?" asked Franny. Mr. Moonface made a face, screwed up his nose, and he was like, "I don't know." Didn't know what it was. No one knew what it was. "Oh dear, we shan't be able to get anything out of him whilst he's eating his toffee. He'll just ooble away. What a pity. I would have liked to know what strange land was up there tonight." "I'll just go and peep," said Joe, jumping up. Moonface looked alarmed. He shook his head and caught hold of Joe. Don't go," he cried. "It's all right, Mr. Moonface. I'm only going to peep," said Joe. "I shan't go into the land." "Don't go," said Mr. Moonface in fright, trying his best to swallow all the toffee so he could speak properly. Joe didn't listen. He went out of the door with the girls and climbed up the last branch of the faraway tree. What strange land was above this time? Joe peered up through the dark hole in the cloud, through which a beam of moonlight shone down. He came to the little ladder that ran up the hole in the cloud, and he climbed up it. His head poked out into the land at the top, and he gave a shout. "Beth! Franny! It's kind of ice and snow, and there are big white bears everywhere. Oh, do come and have a look." But then a dreadful thing happened. Something lifted Joe right off the ladder, and he disappeared into the land of snow and ice above the cloud. "Come back, Joe, come back," yelled Mr. Moonface, swallowing all of his toffee in a fright. "You mustn't even look, or the snowman will get you." But Joe was gone. Beth looked at Moonface in dismay. "What shall we do, Moonface?" Whoa, that is a good story. And that's the end of the chapter. So, I hope you guys enjoyed your story. I will try and send a few this week to catch up because I was very naughty not sending chapters. I hope you guys are behaving and being nice kids and looking after mum and dad nicely. And I love you lots, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.